See, Krause was the other.
Here?
Wait.
Where?
Okay, you got a long service. Just wait.
I'm setting this up now. So at 6 o'clock, I'm not like
Scrambling to
Yeah.
live stream. I think it's a great
Yeah.
idea. So are we live now on Facebook and YouTube?
not Facebook yet, but YouTube. Yes.
Well, hello everyone on YouTube. It's so great to see you.
He's watching it on YouTube.
Oh, so Rabbi?
Hello?
The Rabbi?
Yeah, what's up, David?
Hey there. You can get something called a multi-directional microphone, and it won't matter where you are in the
Oh, okay. If you have any recommendations of a good one, this was recommended to me because my internal one's really bad. This is the blue Snowball Ice. It's like a plug and play one that someone recommended. But if you know of any good ones that are easy, feel free to shoot me an email. Would love.
I have friends in audiovisual, so
Oh, okay.
yes, I will get you a recommendation.
Oh, thanks, David.
You're welcome.
I thought you sounded fine when you moved the mic over.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Alice.
I don't know.
Yeah, when you put the microphone closer, you sound fine. Great.
No, but I think he was fine with the mic over. Wait,
He was, but just a little softer.
I don't think it made that much difference. I think you
No.
could do it.
All right. Well, thank you all for sound checking with me.
Gotta go.
Alice, we have a variety of ears on this.
Maybe, because I thought it sounded fine when
You
he
have
moved it.
great ears.
Rabbi Wisnia,
Very
you shaved your beard.
I know. My wife shaved it all off.
You look
She got-
20 years younger. You look 20 years younger.
Thank you. That's kind. You lie so nicely, really.
No, I'm telling the truth. You look 20 years younger, buddy.
Thank you. But you
Thank
know,
you, Rabbi.
I've reached the age where I don't want the truth anymore. I want you to lie to me. Tell me everything's wonderful. Everything's fantastic. I look great. You know, that's good. Thank you.
How's
I
your
appreciate
dad?
it.
That's what I want to know. How's your dad?
My dad is slowing down. He's, it's a slow, steady. What can I say? He's 94 and he's in a nursing home. I went to see him today. And,
Where is he? Where is
He-
he?
he's in the Brunswick and Attleboro in Newtown. He lived in Levittown, and I live in Yardley.
Okay.
So he's in Attleboro and in the nursing care. So I went and we sang Purim songs, or I sang and he listened.
Aw.
Rabbi Wisnia, I'm not sure if everybody knows who your dad is. Maybe some have made the connection.
Ah, well,
Hey, Rabbi, he spoke at the synagogue when I did that
yes, I think he and my son Avi did a program for you guys on the Holocaust.
More than once. More than
Oh,
once.
really?
Oh, he's been with us several times. Rabbi Wisnia has taught us several times. Cantor Wisnia has taught us several times. I think many in the community would know who he is.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
And
his
we
name is
appreciate his voice.
David Wisnia. He was born in Warsaw in 24 or 26. Went through Auschwitz, was liberated by the American Army, came back to America, was a volunteer cantor at the Reformed Temple in Levittown, Pennsylvania for 30 years. And then when the cantor in Trenton got sick, my father volunteered to fill in for him. And 20 years later, he was still filling in.
He tells the most compelling story I've ever heard about being rescued by American soldiers
Thank
at
you.
the end of World War II. It is an amazing story.
Your
Thank you.
dad and I had the same cantor growing up.
Oh, really?
Moshe Kusevitsky.
Moshe Kusevitsky, yes. Yes, my father's at the Noshik Shul in Warsaw.
That's right. And before that, he was at the great synagogue in Vilna where my father attended. And
Oh, wow. You mean you're a Litvak?
absolutely. You couldn't
Huh?
you couldn't tell?
No, for a
My
Litvak, you're pretty
davening?
nice. For a Litvak, you're pretty good.
Well,
I've been in Philadelphia for 8 months. That must have something to do with it.
It must be the Philadelphia effect.
many of our young people know Cantor Wisnia. They've had a chance to be with him as well. So many generations in the congregation will
Thank you.
have a sweet, sweet place for him in their heart.
Thank you. I'm the meat in the sandwich, We had a great grandfather, and I have a great son, and I'm Isaac. I just didn't mess it up. I passed it on from Abraham to Jacob. What can I say?
I don't know. I don't think Isaac's personality was ever accused of being so large, so present. You know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good to see everyone's faces. Everyone made it through Purim.
Shabbat Shalom, Marielle.
It's hard to hear.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. That was a great forum spiel.
This congregation had some fun last night.
Rabbi Mater, some of us are still continuing the fun.
It was so innovative. We got to do it on Zoom next year.
The kids were so cute, those kids. Oh my God.
They were great.
Must have been last night.
Thank you to the many, many of you who contributed something to the spiel or the Megillah reading or the telling of the story. It was a wonderful collaborative effort from so many in the congregation. And I think a level of joy and even silliness that we all needed, we all benefited from together last night.
Sure.
So we are moving in this very moment from the silly joy of Purim to the warm joy of Shabbat. And so it's good to take this moment to gather together.
Will you drink?
Welcome all of you, and a special shout out to Leah Nussbaum, who's with us and will share later tonight. And some of you will find her a familiar face from before her Hebrew Union College Rabbinical School days when she attended Shabbat services with us in the sanctuary. She's here with her cousin Sam Baum, who we will meet as well. For now, let's take a moment, scroll through the chat for a name you don't yet know, and go ahead and say hello and introduce yourself with a private chat. If someone's reached out to you, please go ahead and respond and see if there's a connection to be made, even through this virtual community.
Sorry, forgot to hit the mute button. Sorry.
I can remember when I was young, so young that I was watching Sesame Street and thinking those characters on Sesame Street really know how to live. This is urban living. Okay, I did not yet know the word urban. I was 3, But I think I got the idea. They don't get in the car, they walk. They know their neighbors. They don't play in a backyard, they share the playground. They lived in this interdependent world that in some ways city living offers. I knew that young that I was meant to live in the city. And perhaps I even knew that young that I would spend my life pursuing something of interdependent living or something of community. This Shabbat, let us embrace that sense of community, even through our screens as we celebrate Shabbat together. This Shabbat, our congregation celebrates the bar mitzvah of Elijah Ehrlichman. You might not recognize him all of these years later, but when he was Sesame Street viewing age, he was a student in our Berger Early Learning Center, and he was even at its ribbon cutting ceremony. We welcome Elijah, his mother Julia, and his aunt Karen to kindle our Shabbat lights.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Do you have some Kiddush there, Elijah?
We do. I didn't know if we should just keep going.
Perfect. Go right ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen. L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.
Amen. Mazel tov.
Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing with me. Shiru l'Adonai, a new song. Kol haaretz, oh shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, oh shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. You know, they say that nothing makes the angels happier than to see all the homes with all the Shabbat candles lit on the table, to see all the children gathered around, friends, partners, everyone who comes together to celebrate Shabbat. Nothing gives them more joy than to see the challah on the table with the challah cover. Challah's waiting to be eaten. Nothing gives them more pleasure than to see the kos yayin, the cup of wine or grape juice. To be honest, the angels are a little bit confused about Zoom, but they're starting to get the hang of it. So we sing to invite them in with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashayit, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashayit, Malachei מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. רוחם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. רוחם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברוך הוא משלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. חוני ושלום, מלאכי ושלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שיחם שלום, מלאכי שלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שיחם שלום, מלאכי שלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. יאי ריי 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 ריי
We are ready to usher in Shabbat. Shabbat will not feel alone as it enters our sacred homes, and may we not feel alone either. So let us sing in Shabbat and dance in Shabbat and feel Shabbat fill us with warmth and joy.
דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אור נקבלה לך דודי, לקראת עליו ונשבע, נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת עליו, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלל, בואי חלל, לך דודי, לקראת עליו ונשבע, נקבלה לך דודי, לקראת עליו ונשבע, נקבלה. We continue with our call to worship. I think we had a pretty good warm up. So here we are. בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adrian Rich's poem, For Memory. Freedom. It isn't once to walk out under the Milky Way, feeling the rivers of light, the fields of dark. Freedom is daily, prose-bound, routine remembering, putting together, inch by inch, the starry worlds from all the lost collections.
Mi chamocha bailim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot usefer nora tehilot usefer. Who is like you, Adonai, source of all life? Who is like you, doing wonders for us day and night, awesome in splendor? Adonai, from whom all things flow, who has brought us all here and will be there wherever we go. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot usefer nora tehilot usefer doing wonders. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to see that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play one day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, behamidenu, shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, behamidenu, shomreinu lecha. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
One day, each of us faces times of brokenness. In these moments of healing, we call to mind all of those who feel broken by COVID-19, by other ailments, by isolation, by loss of job, of health, loss of relationship, loss of security. And if you wish, please add their names to the chat now.
Mi shebeirach avotinu b'kol habracha limotinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imoteinu mekol habracha la'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
As we prepare to join together for our silent Amidah, we are reminded that there are still many voices in our community that are not heard enough. February, in addition to being Black History Month, is also Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month, a month to lift up the voices of Jews with disabilities, a month for us to listen. We are honored tonight to have with us Leah Nussbaum, a rabbinical student at Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, to deliver the Devar Torah on this theme. Some of you may remember and recognize Leah from her time living in Philadelphia before rabbinical school, where she was a regular at Rodef Shalom, or while she was working at our local camp, Camp Harlem. We are also honored to be joined tonight by Leah's cousin, Sam Baum, who will be closing out our Amidah tonight with a beautiful rendition of Oseh Shalom. Sam is a part of Special Audiences and Musicians Incorporated, SAM, a small nonprofit organization that provides paid performance opportunities for 3 groups of underrepresented musicians: women, seniors, and primarily musicians with disabilities. We continue together first in Adonai Sifatai.
Sifatai tiftach ufi yagim tilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Sam, be serious.
Yasher Koach, Sam, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so wonderful to be with you today. I put my backpack down, looked out toward the glistening lake, then toward the other volunteers, excited for orientation. It was my first day at a unique camp, a camp for kids and adults with disabilities with whom I was so excited to volunteer. I was going to help. Each high school volunteer was assigned a camper. I was matched with Jeff, a man in his late 30s with Down syndrome. You're gonna have no problems with Jeff. He's the sweetest guy, a seasoned volunteer assured me. She was right. We had a great week dancing, drawing, swimming, getting messy with shaving cream, balloons, and food coloring. I was there to make sure that Jeff had a good time at camp, and I was proud of myself because it seemed that he did. In our world, caring is usually perceived as the thankless task. It is rarely pleasurable or joyous, but it wasn't so at camp. And yet looking back, something inside me and my attitudes about disability were stuck in a patronizing mindset. I had the privilege of living my life without any visible disability, and I saw myself as fundamentally different from the campers. By virtue of my non-disabled body, I saw myself there to help, to save. Even though I couldn't articulate it at the time, I either saw our campers as exceptional or worthy of pity. Parshat Yitro, which was the Torah portion we read at the first week of Jewish Disability Awareness Month and Inclusion Month, begins. Yitro, priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, how Adonai had brought Israel out from Egypt. Ibn Ezra, one of our medieval sages, hypothesizes that the story of Yitro is placed at this very point, following the encounter with Amalek and prior to the revelation at Mount Sinai, for very specific reasons. Ibn Ezra writes, after the Torah mentioned the evil manner in which Amalek treated Israel, it mentions Yitro as a counterbalance to demonstrate the good that Yitro did for Israel. Yitro is here to assure the Jewish people that not all Gentiles are wicked like Amalek. In fact, there's a few good ones. When we imagine people who are different from us, we tend to fall into dichotomistic thinking, which can lead to paternalism, othering, and alienation. Ibn Ezra's dichotomy was between the evil and righteous non-Jew, and it was a false one. Those of us who are able-bodied tend to see those with disabilities as either inspirational or as burdens on society, and that is a false dichotomy as well. When I was at camp, I too fell into that trap. I was either in awe of Jeff or felt bad for him. I set myself apart from the people I spent my days with. We can find this dichotomistic view of disability in parts of our Torah too. Moses was famously seen as exceptional for having a speech impediment. It seems then almost miraculous and inspirational that he has the ability to speak directly with God. Yet other disabled people in our Torah are seen as burdens to be pitied. People who are blind or sick are seen to society as transgressors or unfavored by God. Their bodies threaten the normative order. Today, we retain this normative order. We fear those who are different from us. NPR correspondent and journalist Joseph Shapiro, in his book No Pity, writes, "The disabled serve as constant visible reminders to the able-bodied that the society they live in is a counterfeit paradise, that they too are vulnerable. People with disabilities represent a fearsome possibility." So able-bodied people shield themselves from the reality that one day any of us might need help or become disabled. No matter how we identify, we all deserve to have our needs fulfilled. Last May, I had the privilege of taking a workshop with my class taught by Abani Jones, a trans woman of color, artist, educator, writer, and designer. She encouraged us to write down ways we could give and receive help from others. Few of us are heroes, and none of us are completely independent. The queer, disabled, non-binary activist and educator, Leah Lakshmi Piepzna Samarinsa, in their book, Care Work, points out that paid attendant care is the primary model of care for disabled people in America. When this is the primary model that we see, it can be easy to think of disabled people only as passive receivers of care, unable to determine what kind of care they want. Piepzna Samarinsa alerts us to a radical alternative, mutual aid, a longstanding practice of Black, Indigenous, and Brown communities. Mutual aid is rooted in solidarity, or the idea that we will all, someday or every day, be in need, and that all of our struggles are interconnected. Communities grounded in mutual aid are about showing up for each other. It is different from charity, as there is no moral superiority of the giver over the receiver. Disability communities have embraced the model of mutual aid for years, but it can benefit all of us. We should not see us or them as others, hierarchically superior or inferior, but as people who stand in solidarity with one another. A model of mutual aid can be, as trans activist, writer, and speaker Dean Spade puts it, a form of political participation in which people take responsibility for caring for one another and changing political conditions, not through symbolic acts or putting pressure on representatives in government, but by actually building new social relations that are more survivable. We can see our Torah portion beyond its dichotomies. The biblical story presents us with the reunion of Yitro and Moses working in solidarity too. Yitro helps Moses at a time when he is most overwhelmed with his responsibilities as the leader of the Israelites. He begins by challenging Moses. What is this thing that you are doing to the people? Why do you act alone while all the people stand about you from morning until evening? Whenever the people had a dispute, they came to Moses. This was overwhelming. Yitro advised Moses that what he was doing wasn't right. You will surely wear yourself out and those people as well. Lo tuchal asohu levadecha. The task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Appoint others. Let them share the burden with you. Yitro teaches Moses that it's okay to fall back on his community and to let others step up to help. Intersectional disability communities and communities of color have been modeling this for a long time, making the world more survivable, and they are good at it, even with very few resources. They have shown all of us, able-bodied or disabled, that needing help does not have to be burdensome or shameful. It is part of who we are. Lo nuchal asohu levadenu. We cannot do it alone. During the global pandemic, more of us have begun to reckon with this message, many of us for the first time. The pandemic has shown us how interdependent we are. We cannot always rely on our government or law enforcement to help us out. Whatever our abilities, it is never too late for us to join mutual efforts of care in our communities. Since my experience at camp over a decade ago, I've come to break down some of the dichotomies. I understand myself not exclusively as a carer, but as someone who is part of the greater disability community, who gives and receives in solidarity. Independence is an illusion. We are all part of a network of interdependence. Like Moses, lo nuchal asohu levadenu, we cannot do it alone.
Yasher Koach. Leah, thank you so much for those powerful and challenging words to our community, pushing us all to move past that dichotomy and to truly recognize B'Tselem Elohim, the holiness, the godliness that is in every aspect of our community. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death, we first remember those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death, occurs this week. Bernice Muller-Alterman, Ethel Harrison Ball, Beatrice Barg, Mary Gunst Barnett, Max H. Barnett, Margaret Hayes Baum, Tzipora Balinson, Lena Beck, Myra Bernstein, Saul S. Biskind, Emmanuel Blatt, Samuel Blesnick, Benjamin H. Borth, Max Brill, Louis Bergauer, the Honorable Paul M. Chalfin, Nancy M. Dusing, Henry Deutsch, Mayor Eglin, Rose B. Edelson, Seema Fagey, Herman L. Feldman, Murray Fisher, Blanche Marks Foles, Caroline Frank, Elizabeth Frankel, Samuel Getz, Abraham H. Gitlow, Louis J. Glaubman, Herman Goldberg, Jean Goldberg, Liba Goldstein, Bertram J. Goodman, Fred Gorenstein, J. Maurice Gray, Daniel F. Greenwald, Edna Lippman Hahn, Howard Haynes, Stuart Halves, Rachel Heim, George Heltzer, Retta G. Heinlein, Leonard Jacobs, Mabel M. Jacobs, Solomon Jacobs, Edward Cantor, Oscar Kine Jr., Israel Cohn, Bertram Kornfeld, Eleanor Soblowski Kriesel, Terry Lackman, Herman E. Landau, Harold Lashner, Ruth Kellum Levin, Ray Summer Levy, Harvey Lipschitz, Beatrice Lipson, Jonathan Lynn, Michael H. Malmud, Eugene Mandel, Frederick R. Mann, Jacob Mann, Howard S. Marks, Mina May, Earl Murnoff, James A. Myers, Dorothy Miller, Irving Miller, Nelson Millman, Harry Nurick, Theodore C. Phillips, Herbert Pressman, Max L. Rabb, Charlotte Auerbach Rathmill, Samuel Root, Antoinette Lois Sattler, Esther Schechtman, Betty Schlamm, Amelia Teller Schlesinger, Janice Schleifer, Theodore Schmidt, Ida Koff-Siegel, Jenny Coopersmith Shapiro, John D. Schumann, Julius Seidenbach, Ted Silver, Gert J. Silverman, Peter Gross Simon, Beatrice Hankin Sitkin, Usher Sclaver, Henrietta B. Stein, Louis Stern, Jacob Strasberg, Fred Fritz Strauss, Leonard David Swab, Robert Thomas, Eileen Walther, Herbert Weiner, Barry Wallman, Abraham H. Waldo, Malka Wolf, Mary Joseph Wolf, Phyllis F. Newsom. We add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days for whom we are observing Shaloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Lila Oliver Asher, David Cornell, Joan Ells, Adele Kornfeld, Suzanne F. Scott, Alan Zuckerman, and we think of all of those in our country and across the world who have lost their lives to COVID-19. If you are observing Yahrzeit or Shaloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to write the names in the chat now. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 16 in our Shabbat program and continue with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'yimru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'am iran v'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us say, Amen.
Oh God, my God, forever I will thank you. Oh God, my God, forever I will praise you. Oh, Dekar. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. We'll close with Oziv Zimratia, Vayihili Lishua. Oziv Zimratia, Vayihili Lishua. Oziv Zimratia, Yeshua, Oziv Zimratia, Vayehili Yeshua, Oziv Zimratia, Vayehili Yeshua. Oziv Zimratia, Vayehili Yeshua. Oziv Zimratia, Vayehili Yeshua.
The phrase lo tov, it is not good, appears only twice in the entire Torah. Once in Genesis, when God said it is not good for humankind to be alone, and again in the very portion that we just learned about, Parshat Yitro, when Yitro tells Moses it is not good to be alone. We are reminded this Shabbat how we are all interconnected, how we need each and every member of our community. Shabbat